God, I don't have anything fancy for an intro. Just that I'm tired. I think that's just the day in general.
Good evening. We're tired on this episode.
Uh, Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 5th episode of the Friendgame podcast. What is today? Today is the 16th.
It is
we are
the
recording.
16th.
Today's topic that we're going to be looking at is our relationship in esports as a spectator and competitor. But before we go on to that, Ian,
Yes,
how was your day?
it is I. It was a weird day.
Yeah.
We stayed up late playing RuneScape last night, so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna sleep in. I'm staying up late. I don't want to wake up early because I've been waking up early for work.
Yeah.
My body's like, fucking right at dawn, bitch. So I was up early anyways. So I was sleepy, and then my body's like, yo, we woke up early, but all right, let me run this by you. How about a nap? And I was like, no. And my body's like, okay, we're napping. And then I napped, and now I'm even more tired.
Wow.
So, you know how that goes.
Oh, I know how that goes. I just realized now that I forgot to introduce us. Huh.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, doesn't matter. All right, we're professionals, right?
Yeah, but you do anything 5 times, people should know who you are already.
Right.
So,
Well, in case you don't know who I am one of the co-hosts of this. I am Alex, or Avenine, and with me is...
I am Ian, or Jabba 2000, or the original homie.
All right. Today's topic, we're getting right into it, is our relationship with esports as a spectator and competitor. I loosely want to say that we competed in local tournaments, not anything in a wide or big scale.
Yeah,
But-
you don't look up any VODs expecting to see us in anywhere
Oh yeah,
significant.
Yeah. The closest thing I've ever gotten to esport is facing Sonic Fox in a tournament. So that's the closest I've ever been to an esport. Anywho,
Yeah.
why don't we just start about some of the esports that we do keep up with. So was it
a lot, I feel like, but
I
some more than others.
yeah,
but,
some more than others. I definitely have followed a lot of fighting games.
You follow more fighting games than I do.
That's true. You follow League of Legends more closely than I do, though, because you're up to date with a lot of the games and stuff. But yeah, I do follow a lot of fighting games, even to this day. Right now, I'm still keeping up with what's going on in Mortal Kombat. Even though I don't play
the
the
only
game.
one. Yeah, that's the only one that I do keep up with a little bit, just because something we'll probably talk about a little later. Is that's one of the games that we did compete in locally was Mortal Kombat.
Right.
So wanting to compete and do well in those games, we obviously gravitated towards pro players and other people who were competing. So that's a lot of the esports personalities that I still follow is just Mortal Kombat guys, just because that's who I was watching and getting stuff from. So I still follow a bunch of those guys on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. So
Yeah, and so do I. I still kind of keep up with some of the other ones too. Still, so things like Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5. Those are two of the big titles that I still kind of watch. I've kind of dropped watching Smash. I don't know if you've done the same.
yeah, I do. That's another one where I never competed in, but it was fun to watch. I enjoy watching Evo and Combo Breaker and all those, and Smash is Melee is the one that I followed most, and watching those was still fun. So I still follow a lot of the the gods is basically who I follow. I don't know any of the new people because there's always new pro players in the scene.
Oh yeah.
So basically just the classic Melee players are who I follow.
Yeah,
really, so.
Those that are still competing in there, right? It's
Right,
kind of
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Armada's just not playing anymore.
Yeah, Armada's gone. Like, I know Mango still competes. I think
Yeah.
Hungrybox still competes too.
Yep, I was watching, you know how they do the summit every year?
Yeah.
They haven't obviously been meeting up to do it, but they did like I don't even remember what it was called. It was like a summit championship series where they would just like do online tournaments for Melee every once in a while, like a couple of times throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching one recently, and Hungrybox and Mango and S2J were all in that.
Okay.
I only watched it for a little bit, and those are the I don't know. I don't want to say OG, you know, like the classic Melee players that
Right.
you and I know about at least.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I recognized for the short time that I was watching. So.
Yeah. I was watching.
SFAT and Plub, I think, were there too.
Oh, really? Okay.
So.
Yeah, I was watching Smash Ultimate for a little bit, but that kind of like had its own thing happen, and then I dropped watching that more closely. I still follow some of the personalities, but nothing like I haven't watched a tournament in ages. But I did watch the Mortal Kombat Wii Play. Was it a tournament? I don't know if you watched that.
What is it? Wii Play?
Yeah, that was a big sort of like that was a big MK11 tournament that happened. I want to say a couple months ago, like 2 months ago now, or last month. One of those two.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with a lot of Mortal Kombat 11, so.
Yeah, that's understandable.
There's still like a handful of like I was talking about before, like pro players that I've just like followed since MK like 9, MK 10 ish that are just like they're funny. So I follow my Twitter still and just like see like when Dragon or Honeybee or any of those guys. Like I follow Honeybee on YouTube and stuff too. So when he does like community tournaments and stuff, so I just like watch those every once in a while. But
yeah.
That was really fun though.
And then League of Legends.
Right? Yeah, that's the one that I keep up with the most. I've been watching MSI as it's been going on at the time of recording this. The mid-season tournament that's been going on. It's like an invitational through all the best teams for all the like the big regions.
Yeah, I've only watched I think the first 2 weeks of odds, so I actually haven't been able to catch I think this week's.
Yeah, this was the start of what they're calling the Rumble stage, where they had play-ins already, which was probably what you've been watching.
Yeah.
So it was, basically like groups.
Yeah.
So all the teams that made it out of groups are now in the Rumble stage, where it's a double round robin. So they're gonna play like 10 games or so.
Really?
I think 10 games.
Okay. That's interesting.
And then it'll be like, and then the top teams out of that will be like
in the bracket,
top 4, and then in the finals and stuff and all that.
That's an interesting.
It's been pretty interesting
format.
to watch.
I think that's. I think that's a pretty interesting format for just like getting the team's experience. I can't say that that's like a great tournament format, but you know.
Yeah, there's like a lot of teams, so it doesn't make sense for them to like do best of 3s the entire time that they're there in the tournament. That'd be like you'd take forever, and you wouldn't get to play everybody probably.
Yeah.
But a lot of what's cool about MSI specifically is that it's it's an invitational, so it's just top one team from all like a bunch of different regions, not just the major ones. You get to see a lot of teams from leagues and regions that you don't normally get to see, which is pretty cool. There's like an Oceania League team, and the Japan League isn't as big as the other Asian leagues, so you get to see like the Japan team and the Hong Kong region, and the Brazilian teams are always really cool and really fun to watch. So, like their team this year is really good, and like it's weird because in the past it's just been like, oh look at all the cute little minor regions, and then all right, here's Korea and China and NA and EU, but this year it's just like Cloud9's getting their shit kicked in by everybody. Like, all of the quote unquote lesser regions, they're not actually, but just like less well known than like China, Korea, North America, whatever. They're like really good, and I don't know if it's just because like NA is bad or like the caliber of just the rest of the regions has gotten that high.
Right.
Like it's pretty fun to watch because like Damwon Kia, the reigning world champs, have been beaten by Cloud9 and then just some like random ass team.
Right.
So, it's pretty fun to watch.
That is
personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched I think it's PGS versus
There's
that
a
one game.
PSG Talon as a
PSG,
team.
that's it. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I watched that game, and that was a pretty close game. That was really interesting to watch.
They're all kind of running together for me now because I've watched them all. But yeah, they're really fun.
What was another game that I tried to keep up? I watched a bit of like competitive Counter Strike too, and that's always really interesting to me because
Mhm.
that game's really interesting.
Yeah, I don't keep up with that as much as you probably have. Whenever there's like a dream hack or like a big tournament,
Mm.
it's always like CS:GO is really popular just around the
Oh yeah,
world. So I'll always see it on like it's like, oh, CS:GO randomly has the most viewers on any game on Twitch. There must be an event going on. So then I'll tune into that when there's like a big event because
yeah,
that's always fun to watch.
yeah.
Um,
I
I don't
haven't,
watch it like whenever there's like small events or whatever though.
yeah, I haven't kept up with it in a
Hmm.
while, but like the like just the overall gameplay and strategy of the like each round is so interesting to
Yeah,
watch.
especially since like each map is like what it's like 30 rounds.
Yeah.
So like if you're there watching it that whole time, you get to see the evolution of like when at the start of like the map, it's
Mm-hmm.
obviously like eco, so everyone's kind of like your strategy for the entire 30 rounds. Basically, you're always thinking about from round one
Yeah.
onwards because of how the economy works in that game,
Yeah.
and that's super interesting to me.
And then
Because like, oh shit, we messed up our like 5 rounds ago we messed up and we have to eco on round like 10, like that could decide the map
yep.
just like because of like a mistake you made several rounds ago that like then like compounds into like an advantage or disadvantage for one of the teams. That's
Mm,
super interesting.
yeah, and it's always interesting to watch watch when teams flip sides during a
Right,
map
yep.
too to see how their strategies are different compared to the other team that
Yeah,
was on that
when one
side.
team when one team's CT side they're trying to do this, and then when the other team is that like they're not doing the same thing even though
Yeah.
they're then the opposite side. Yeah, that's super interesting too.
Yeah. I have not watched I haven't watched any competitive Valorant. I think the only competitive like I want to put in quotations competitive Valorant that I've put or seen is a Twitch Rivals.
Hmm.
And like that's also a game that's very similar to Counter-Strike, right? Where except it's more or it's got abilities which kind of is what differentiates it from Counter-Strike. Because Counter-Strike, everyone is essentially equal. It's just whatever weapon you're using that's different. But with
Yeah, because everyone has access to all the grenades and
yeah, all the utility.
armor and stuff. All
Yeah,
of that is just universal.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in Valorant, all the abilities are different compared depending on what character you choose.
Mhm.
Right?
So it's like you actually have to think about the strategy and all the tools you have, but then also like your team comp because you want to like
yeah,
cover because like you can actually do that. Like not every character can have flashbangs
yeah,
and smoke grenades, so you have to like coordinate with your team in that
yeah.
respect, like on top of everything else, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I find it really interesting too because like depending on the map, it also affects
Yeah.
what characters are chosen, right? Because like, was it you might play a map where you wanna walk down mid and flash. Well, you need someone that can flash, but which person do you need, right? Because there's multiple different characters that can flash. It's just depending on like what the other characters' utilities are that
Hmm.
you know determine what your strategy there is. All right. Shall we move on to our minor participation in our local leagues?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't know if you saw on Facebook, but I did post a memory about.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's
So
pretty funny.
did I say that was 6 years ago? God, that feels
Oh,
so.
I don't even
I think
know.
that's right. Yeah, six. So six
Something
years
like
ago,
that. Yeah.
was we talked about this a little bit in episode 2 with Mortal Kombat that we participated in a tournament, and on my Facebook page,
Yeah.
I
Fixed. I just checked.
yeah on my Facebook page I got a memory showing a post about us participating in that, and that was really funny to me because it feels like forever ago, which I guess since it's 6 years, I guess that counts, but.
Yeah.
That was our very first local tournament, or that was my very first local tournament I ever participated in.
Yeah, me too.
That was so much
And then
fun,
we,
though.
yeah, we had a couple of them after that.
Do you remember our prep for that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We played so many sets of Mortal Kombat, man.
we just sat at your house and just cranked out sets.
We would just do like fucking 30 game sets, just like 30 games in a row.
But that's the thing with I feel like that's the thing with a fighting game, though.
That's kind of how you grind fighting games.
Yeah. And like your other option is was when you go to the local tournaments just to play with people.
Yeah, if it's a big enough tournament, you can just walk around just like, yo, want to play, want to play, want to play.
Yeah, yeah.
So, 'cause then you get experience against like different people, and obviously in fighting games, it like you can play it quote unquote like the best way you can. You're against a human, so you have to like figure out how to play against a human too.
Yeah.
So, and that's always going to be different. So that was, I'm not gonna say fun, but that was an interesting experience.
You didn't enjoy that time, dude?
It was touch and go, just because of my mental state.
I
Lack thereof.
did you ever think about I guess this is kind of a side thing, but did you ever think about like when you were playing Call of Duty if you would ever like participate in like kind of competitive Call of Duty at the time
Oh.
in like high school?
Mm-mm.
No, you
That
never
wasn't
did.
really like a thing,
Really?
or at least I didn't hear about like
So
that was a thing.
so back in the day, game battles used to be a thing, which was like an online tournament, and I actually thought about doing that with some of my friends at a time. So like we had one of their things was 2v2 on Nuketown, and that was one of the things that like my friends and I got together to like scrim against each other.
Oh really?
Yeah. So like that was one of the things that we were like we wanted potentially to do. Was it never happened, but it was
pretty cool.
it was interesting. Man, dude. I think about like how my mindset has changed over the years. With like gaming in general, and then competing in games, and like just trying to improve, right? Like learning to improve and stuff, and it's definitely changed. It's definitely changed my perspective on things in a lot of things, like life or just wanting to get better at stuff. But yeah,
I think it's hard to just like, as far as like judging if you're getting better or not. It's like kind of hard to gauge. I feel like.
You get to that. God, there's a term. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a psych term for it, but there's a term that is used when you become competent enough to where you're like good, but then you look at what's ahead of you and you become intimidated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like it's like a U curve, and you're all the way at the bottom because you're now good enough to understand a lot of the stuff, but then you look ahead of you and there's like just a lot more shit that you have to like learn.
Yeah.
And like
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to like judge, because like I was talking about this kind of thing with one of our buddies, when, like talking about like League, because we compete in Clash tournaments. And I was like, it was like after we had a kind of a shitty practice or a shitty tournament weekend or something.
Yeah.
And I go back and I'm like, yeah, I know I made all these mistakes, and I should have been like, I could have done stuff better, but I'm not like, I don't know if I understand enough how to fix the mistakes that I'm making.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm probably at the, or I don't know if I'm at the point, but I might be at the point where coaching would be useful.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I can like say, this is how I think about the game, and then someone who's way fucking me is like, all right, that's good, but you're an idiot for thinking about that. You should think about it this way and do this, this, and this. And they just know that because they've either been a pro player or a coach or know way more about the game than I do, and I
Right.
just don't know how to go about accessing that information. Just because it's like the more you know, the more you know you don't know kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So,
I
and
guess.
that's where like I've had similar issues in like high school sports or something, but then that's why you have a coach that's there and he's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I see what you're thinking about. You need to do this to fix your issue or
Yeah.
whatever it happens to be. So
Yeah.
finding an esports coach when you're not on a pro team. So like, if do I want to pay for coaching? Like, no, fuck that.
I
But I
think.
also want to not be shitty either. So
I think personally that it kind of comes with. It kind of depends on what kind of. I feel like it kind of depends on what kind of person you are, right?
yeah,
Because
depends
there's
on
some
what
of
your
those.
goals are. Too,
Yeah, and
I'm
what your
sure.
goals are, because like for me, for playing like League of Legends, as much as I could go out and seek that kind of information, I just don't look at the game or the way that I look at it is that I'm playing this game for enjoyment compared to wanting to compete and get better. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah,
my was it like I'll naturally try and progress, right, to try and get better at like things like laning and controlling stuff, but I personally haven't gone out of my way to like look at that, right? So that is, I feel like that is an option, right, to go out and find the information yourself. But it's hard to do that when you don't know what, like, what specifically to look at, right? Because like you can ask the internet a question of like, what am I doing wrong? But if you don't know the correct question, like, to ask in that situation, then you just get a fuck ton of answers essentially.
yeah, and it's like too like you could ask the internet a question and you might get 100 different answers and like none of them might be right
Yeah.
because like people on the internet think they know stuff and like they might just be stupid, like
Yeah.
just like us, we think we know what we're talking about, but you shouldn't listen to anything we say. We're just good dudes on the internet. So
Oh.
yeah, that's because I understand what you're saying too. Like at the end of the day, it is a game, so like playing for fun is the correct answer. But like I'm the type of person that needs to like being good and like doing well and getting better at things is part of the enjoyment for me. So
Mhm.
like when that doesn't happen, that kind of gets in the way, and that's just me and a mental thing. So
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having a mindset that of like wanting to become better and competing, right? I think it's only impeding when your mindset shifts to was it hitting hard on yourself or too hard on yourself, right? Because
I don't know anything about that.
because that's when like being hard on yourself is okay. It's when you're too hard on yourself and you all of a sudden lose encouragement or become discouraged from being able to like learn from any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because like if you're actually willing to like look and understand your mistakes, then you're already doing better than a lot of people. Because a lot of people would just be like, well, it's not my fault, right? Especially when you're playing a team game like League of Legends, it's easy to point the finger at someone else, you know. But the fact that like you're willing to at least acknowledge that you have mistakes or you have things that you can grow from already gives you a more of an avenue of learning and growing than other people. That's just, of course, the getting down on yourself and stuff is just my opinion because I've been there. I've done that a lot. But I think that competing in esports has really taught me to just learn to get better for like either my enjoyment or for me to grow. So like I generally take losing as as like an okay thing, because it means that
that's where learning happens.
Yeah.
When
'Cause,
you
like-
make mistakes and stuff. So
Yeah, because like going back to our kind of like short history of our tournaments, during our local scene of Mortal Kombat, I grinded a lot. I played a lot, right? Like I did play with you a lot, but my brother also like was one of my brother was someone that I played with a lot, and we grinded out like the amount of matches that Ian says that we grinded out, like 30 in a day or something. My brother and I would do that like for a week straight. Like like I come home from work and he's like, "Hey, you want to play some?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then we just sit there and grind out like 30 matches straight in a night. So I improved like at a faster rate. And naturally, you know, when I would go to our local tournaments, it's not like everyone could play it. You know, everyone is playing at the same amount of hours, putting in the same amount of time. So naturally, I ended up on top for the brief time that we were actually participating in locals. I won first in a lot of them, and that's not me like ragging. That's just like me trying to put a perspective for you, because when it came down to it, I ended up going to a larger tournament to compete in, and I lost all of them. Like I won one game in my first round for pools, and I lost every other one. And then when I was playing in some friendlies with some people, I lost all those too. But like that taught me so much, because I'm now like I'm playing against higher skilled people.
Yeah, you're at a place for like that's why people are there. So obviously there's going to be a lot of people who've been, playing for longer, or have played against higher level opponents, so they just like have better, whatever.
Yeah, and I think too the nice thing about like going to one of those major tournaments was that it kind of taught me that when I went to this major tournament, I'm here. When I was competing, I'm here to compete. And then when I was playing in the locals, I'm still here to compete, but I'm also here for my friends, compared to, being in when you're going to like a major and you really want to compete, like you're there for the major. But like when you go to your locals, sometimes you're there for the local, like to play hardcore in the tournament, but sometimes you're just there to hang out with your friends, And that's what it ultimately like turned into.
Yeah, and especially if you're like wanting to like continue to go to majors and like play a lot and get good at whatever you're playing, like any experience is good experience.
Oh yeah.
Really. So even if you only go to locals, it's still better than if you just played by yourself and then went to a major. Like
and you can learn like, now that we have the internet and like you can watch VODs and stuff, like you can learn so much just from watching videos on like, or like VOD reviewing what other people are doing, like without any commentary, without any coaches. Like you can just watch someone play and like learn a lot, because that's what I did, or that's what happened to me when I went to that major, was that I actually didn't know that much about the game until I went to that, right? Because like I thought that I knew a lot, and then I went to the major tournament and saw all of these like so much better players that I learned. I leveled up from that. We learned about we learned about gaps in strings, and was it optimal setups and frame data and stuff like from that, and like we kind of knew about it before, but it like our depth went in after that, right? Because you and I after I came back and learned about that, you and I discussed about it and then started laughing about that stuff too.
Yeah, I do remember. I can't tell you exactly when, but I do like in my memory notice when there was a part where when we first started playing MKX, and then there was like a sudden shift to where we started doing just like more high level things more often, like you were saying, like looking for gaps in strings, like armoring through stuff. Once we learn how to do that, once we like know where the gaps are, you can enhance moves to armor to break your opponent's offense and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because
we definitely were not doing
that
the first good chunk of time we were playing.
Well, like our sets all of a sudden went from like low skill to to being actually like mid-level, right? Because
Yeah, it was
now
just like whoever could land their big combo first would win. Instead, it was like
it was actually like we're playing.
making sure you can't let them hit their combo. Like,
Yep. Making sure that they can't just like keep pressure on you and being able to read the situation to where you have an opening or you have a chance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and yeah, like learning the frame data stuff actually just takes repetition because I couldn't, like, I didn't know that like if I block your down one, you like have to block because I can just down one you because of frame advantage.
Yeah.
But like before, I was just like, why can't I do anything? He's hitting me with down one. Why can't I do anything? I'm like, well, because frames, you actually just can't do anything if you get hit by a down one. You have to block it.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of the thing. I remember saying that a lot. Like, oh, I just can't do anything when you do that. Like you can always do something. You just gotta like learn how. And sometimes the thing you can do is fucking back up. And like it's not sexy, but like sometimes you just have to fucking take a step back from the dude. And like, oh shit, well I have to block again, but at least I'm not getting hit by down one 5 times in a row.
Sometimes it also just helps to like think
and then
about
like
it for
also
a moment.
Yeah. And then like also we were talking about like the game also just like changes over time too. So once like armor moves became differently, because before like so many different special moves had armor on them. So like I could just like get a free combo if you had a gap in your string. Cause you could go like 1-1-4, and I could just like EX Ice Hammer through your shit and just get a full combo.
Yeah.
Like for free. But
Yeah.
now like armor moves are different now, so you can't combo off of them.
Yep.
That obviously. That changed how you play the game, so that changed how we played the game. So,
yeah, I mean that goes with a lot of games that just get patched. I mean, League is kind of the same thing, right? With the champions always rotating in and out, depending on who's buff and who isn't. And
yeah, that's something we were talking about earlier. That's like one of the reasons why I like watching League so much instead of Melee, like I used to, is just because Melee like doesn't change. Ever. The game is how old, and like it's not gonna get new characters, it's not gonna get a balance patch. Like it is what it is now. But like with something like League of Legends or any newer game that gets patches and stuff, it's always fun for me to like go on YouTube and look at the VODs, and the VOD YouTube channel that I follow always puts like, if it's like someone has a weird pick, it puts it like in the thumbnails, like oh shit, Kha'Zix isn't meta right now, but someone played it in this pro game. Like, I'm gonna watch it.
Right.
So, like, things are always changing and evolving, and it's fun to see when one number on one item gets changed, and then like all these champs are bad and all these champs are good now. And it just like to see how that changes all the time and see pro players like take advantage of that, because normally you're like, oh, this item has like, I don't know, like 10 additional attack damage on it, and it makes all these champs busted now. Like, how do pro players figure that shit out all of a sudden? They just, because they actually play a lot and look at the numbers and all that stuff, but it's fun to see it in action then. So or just like, yeah, like the most recent Hecarim got super gutted, but like if you look at all the changes, none of the changes are super big. It's like 5% on a thing here, or like they changed the way one thing scales here, like with an AD versus your health or whatever the hell. Very small changes, and the champion is never seen again. Like it's just super interesting. So
there was another thing that I was gonna turn to. DDR. That's it. I have hosted one of the anime conventions that we went to's DDR tournament twice now. I've also participated in a couple of the convention style DDR tournaments as well, just for fun. They're all just for fun. Like, none of them are actually like really competitive, but I wanted to get like your thoughts on because I think you've done one of them, right?
What are the DDR tournaments?
Yeah,
I was in the first one,
the very first one that I hosted,
and
right?
then the other ones that you've like been a part of or hosted, I just like wasn't at the events.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was only, because it was at the one con, our local one.
Yeah,
it was the the first one that I was a part of, and then that's the only one of those that I've actually gone to. So,
what do you like? Do you remember like your thoughts on that? And
Yeah, it was towards the beginning of my like actually playing DDR career.
Yeah.
So like I was like not very good. But like at that time, that's something that I have to like control in my head is like whenever I get kind of good at something, I'm like, yo, I'm fucking cracked at this game. Dude. Like, there's gonna be a tournament at the con. Hell yeah, I'm gonna smurf on everybody, and that's obvious, like extremely not the case. So then when I did poorly, I was like, fuck, man, I'm just like so bad. Like I'm never gonna play this game again. It's terrible. So like that was my gut reaction, and looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, Ian, you were playing the game for like 2 months at that point. Like you're not gonna go to a convention and do well. Like fucking relax. But
I've always looked at DDR kind of similar to, or competing in like DDR similar to like track and field. You know what I mean? That's
true too. Yeah, you could be the best sprinter on your school's team, and then you go to like
a meet.
like a quad,
Yeah.
like a quad invitational, and you're just like, wow, I'm just like not even the first heat, dude. Like my qual times are bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's like my thought with or that's my thoughts with how I kind of take those kind of tournament like DDR tournaments, or like was the dance game tournaments in general. Is that like I kind of think of it more as like a measure of how I stack up compared to me trying to like win, right? Because since things are more like score based, it's almost similar to like when you are doing track and field, it's like your time or your distance when you're doing like field events and stuff. So
yeah, a lot of it is that's actually such a good comparison because it's score based. Like you have no like influence on your opponent in that kind of game.
Yeah.
Similar with like a track and field style sport where like you are there to do your thing, and then there's also just other people doing the same thing next to you. You have no interaction with your opponent at all.
Yeah.
So you should really just look at your individual performance
Yep.
as a gauge of success. And like I did that in track, so I don't know why it was hard for me to do with that DDR tournament too, because it's like pretty transferable in that regard. And I was just like,
I think
there's people watching me. I want to do well, and then I didn't, and I was upset about it. But...
Well, I think that's also like where your mind isn't associating like the two together, right?
Yeah, definitely not at that point,
right? Because like now when you think about it and you think about it in that
now
way, you're like,
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, without I definitely have been in that spot too, where like I'm like thinking, I'll be on the pad playing with someone else, and I've thought about like, oh man, what if they're just super good, and I'm like self-conscious about myself. But over time, I've adapted to like there are just people that are better than me, and I'm not gonna be upset about it. I think the biggest thing is playing with Rob, my buddy. My buddy Rob, he's definitely like, I would consider him like, it's weird because like I would consider him almost like my sensei, but also my rival in rhythm games, because him and I are generally like very closely skilled, right? We're in kind of like the same bracket essentially, and that's like the biggest reason why I've always enjoyed playing like rhythm games with him, is because him and I are always neck and neck, and like, if someone's doing better than the other, like it's like there's a little bit of salt there, because you're like, oh god, I just want to be better. What it is,
Rob is your carrot on the end of the stick.
Yeah.
Instead of a carrot being on the end of the stick, it's just Rob sitting there.
Yeah, because like we both pushed each other to become better just like rhythm game players in general. Because he would like go off and pick up a new game, and then I would go and pick it up with him, and then like both of us are like trying to get better, get up to the higher levels and stuff against each other. Yeah. That's I think that's like the most I'm ever gonna get out of like a rival experience. Like I put in quotation a rival experience,
Yeah. Naruto Sasuke. Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you had to move on from me because I wasn't good. Uh,
Uh,
Fetch.
well, you know, you gotta put in your time for DDR, right?
Yeah, it's right. It's yeah, because I'm not as good at DDR.
Well,
You guys have also like just played
we've
more,
played
so
we played a
you
lot.
played way more, and yeah, and we just like haven't for a year.
I think
So.
I think it's funny because like when I first met him and I asked him like when he started playing DDR, he told me that he started playing as a kid too. So like instantly already like you know both of us have been playing for a really long period of time, and it was for even nowadays when we were playing or before the pandemic when we were playing DDR, it was always me trying to catch up to him, right, for DDR. Um, but was it in other rhythm games like we're pretty neck and neck. Sometimes I'm ahead of him, and then he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go every day or every week, once a week now, just so that I can like catch up. And then was that he gets ahead, and then I'm like, oh man, like I had a really shitty day today playing. I just like I want to do better so that I can like at least like keep up with him, and then you know, yeah. But
Hopefully that'll change when we're moving near an arcade and pandemic things are looking like they're going to be lightening up soon.
yeah.
So that'll be something. I want to like get back to the gym and shit anyway, so that'll be something else to
Oh yeah, dude.
do.
I was talking about potentially, or I was talking about trying to get a workout routine ready so that you know.
Yeah. Because then I super wouldn't mind doing more competing for rhythm games when like you know there's more conventions around to like actually go and do those at. So yeah. We've been talking about Mortal Kombat, and I just like kind of want to play some now. So I'm gonna probably have to fight the urge to install it on my PlayStation later.
Oh my goodness, you're funny.
Because I know what it's gonna be. I'm gonna want to play it. I'm gonna install it and then play it for 15 minutes. I'm gonna be like, oh shit, never mind. So I don't know. We'll see.
So was it yeah, I mean we talked about, you know, how competing has really affected us overall. I think that overall as competitors in esports, our mindsets have definitely evolved. You know, we've definitely gotten a lot better at looking at our, you know, celebrating our wins and looking over our losses to try and like, you know, get better and stuff.
Still a salty bitch sometimes, but
that's normal. That's okay.
That's normal. Yeah.
Like,
I do enjoy doing Clash. Is like the perfect amount of competitiveness to scratch that itch for me.
Yeah.
It sucked when it was every other week. It's just like a little too frequent then.
Yeah, I agree.
but I enjoy getting. Plus, it's just fun to get together with people and do.
It's fun to do with friends. Do you think you'd ever like go back and compete in like a fighting game, or like in some other games, a little bit more competitively? If it was like you know, kind of like the traveling monthly thing that we used to do, right?
I want to get into like Magic.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, but
expensive.
It's expensive. If they start going to like I've talked about this a little bit, Magic the Gathering Arena, the online format for Magic, has a format called Historic, where it's basically it's a non-rotating format where they periodically bring in cards from Magic's history.
Right.
It's like cool, fun cards, spells that people like casting. So it's like Modern Light, where it's old cards, so it's like Modern, where the power level is pretty high. The main distinguishing factor, though, is it's a little bit more limited card pool than Modern is.
Right.
And the mana is worse.
Right.
Which actually is a good thing.
Right.
It's like I'm not like cracking fetches fucking every turn. Like people were real concerned when Brainstorm got added to the format because that's a real good like card selection card because you draw 3 cards, you can put 2 from your hand back on top of your library.
Yeah.
Which normally would be kind of weird because you're technically only drawing one new card because then you're putting 2 back.
But you can
but
put
then
any 2 back.
But then you play a fetch. And then you just
right.
fetch, search for land, shuffle your library. So you basically just put 2, like you draw. That makes it drawing 3 cards, putting 2 that you don't want back, and then getting a fresh grip on your next turn, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like in Modern, that's busted. Like if you allow your opponent to do that, you basically lose.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to like counter Brainstorm or some shit. So people were worried, but since the mana is worse and like Fabled Passage is the only fetch land, like fun decks. Oh yeah, okay. So if they did Paper Historic, that would be fun to compete in because then it would be like you could go to conventions and compete and stuff, and you wouldn't have to do it online.
Right.
I would want to go to events to compete and stuff, but I don't know if I want to compete in Standard because that's where it gets expensive because that's the rotating format where you gotta buy new cards every 4 months.
Yeah, that is the expensive format.
Expensive, but I love playing Magic so much. Like playing competitively would be a new way to experience it, you know.
Yeah.
Besides just Commander or playing online.
Yeah.
So there haven't been a whole lot of things like Paper Magic. So there's been a lot of online stuff. But in order to it's weird to in order to qualify for those, you have to hit Mythic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just a time investment thing.
Yeah.
And I work a full-time job. I don't have the time investment. But if it's there's a convention in a couple of months, let's put together a deck and just go for a weekend. The time commitment is your weekend. I don't have to play, 60 games a day for a month.
Right. You
to
can
get
just
to get to Mythic to qualify to then play in a tournament.
Right.
So.
And then, added bonus, you get to enjoy the convention too.
And then if you're going to a convention, you just get to play. And then if you do well, you do well. If not, whatever. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I've been toying with because I don't know. That's a whole nother episode. Well, plus I gotta buy cards then, and several people have told me not to. So
yeah, I feel that. Man.
We'll see.
That's nice though. At least you're thinking about something like that for competing. I personally I don't think I have the will in me to compete.
Yeah.
In anything anymore. I think that my time in the sun is done. I've been competing.
It's a time investment. So
I think the big reason is just because all my life I've been competing and stuff, and it's I competed in sports throughout my entire childhood and throughout my school career. Then after that, I competed in fighting games and competed in some Smash tournaments. And now the most competitive thing that I do is play League of Legends Clash with you guys. So I think that's the most competitive that people are gonna probably get out of me at this point. If there's a for fun or DDR tournament or something in the future, then maybe I'll do that, but I generally just find those for enjoyment and to hang out with the community than to compete. I do still enjoy watching things as a spectator, but competing in them, I unfortunately just don't have that in me anymore.
I want to play some Magic. I was watching a streamer the other day, and he's there's pros and cons to competing in online versus paper Magic, because he's take this game for example. I bricked on turn 2, and I'm playing against the Gruul aggro deck. If I would have traveled several miles to take a weekend off to play in a tournament, and then I just die on turn 3 twice in a row, and then I'm done, that would be a bitch to I traveled all this way and spent all this money, and then I die in 15 minutes. That would suck.
That would suck. So,
no.
Yeah. That's why, like,
Yeah, that's why you just don't register like Grixis control or something. Like,
I, I think going to like a tournament like that is a lot different than like going to like a fighting game tournament, even, or like a different
yeah,
tournament, right? Because like visually, things are just a lot more appealing and interesting, right? And not that like Magic isn't interesting. I'm just saying like in the way that things are performed on like a stage or something. It's it's a lot different.
yeah, it's still just like paper Magic
Mhm.
tournaments are just like two dudes looking at a table.
Right.
Like,
And like
there's
that's
no actual action when versus if you're watching a fighting game, there's dudes beating each other up.
yeah,
So.
or like if you're watching
It's
a League of
way more
Legends
like
tournament.
way more like hypey.
Yeah.
Like no one gets hyped to see somebody play a Siege Rhino. Like, oh, let's fucking go!
uh, he's a
Does it
random.
resolve? And everyone in the arena goes,
Could you
and,
imagine?
like, memory lapse, and we're like, oh, fuck!
Could you imagine if like Magic tournaments were like Yu-Gi-Oh, the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, where like they
Yeah.
like yell out the card name as they like slap it down on the table, dude. Oh
Yeah,
my
there's
God,
like
dude.
spectator. You're in a fucking like stadium, and there's spectators everywhere.
Yeah,
That'd
dude.
be-
That would actually be so much fun. That'd be so
Like,
funny.
in reality, it's just like, all right, I uptick to fairy. Card. Put out this emblem on my end step. I untap 2 lands. Okay. I gain 2 life. Pass. Untap 2 lands, and then he just counters 5 things in a row. And you're like, all right, well, yeah,
Scoop. I scoop at instant speed.
yeah, pretty much.
Is there a game that you would love to commentate?
I really enjoyed. I did some casting for like small time league orgs
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit. It's just like, again, another time investment thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, and it was kind of funny. You would think that like orgs like that would be pretty organized. It
Yeah.
was always fucking like, yo, we got games tomorrow who can cast, or like,
So-
hey, we got games in 4 hours who can cast, and everyone's like, is it best of 5 or? And like you wouldn't hear anything, and then like an hour before the thing, it's like, hey, can anybody cast? And we're like, bro, we're still asking if it's best of 5, best of 3, what's the deal? And there's like, I was in like several discords
Yeah.
for orgs, and they were all like that.
Really, that's really funny, actually.
Yeah. So
Wow.
if it was super organized and I had like I knew exactly what was going on, so I could just like sign up, and I know that everything's gonna start on time and who I'm gonna be with and what the teams are. Like, none of it was organized ahead of time, so it was a lot of like, I'm here, what's up?
It's just a guessing game.
Yes, but doing that was super fun.
Yeah, I did.
Because like I like interacting with League esports, and that was just like actually interacting with it instead of just being a spectator.
Yeah, I mean, like the couple games that I watched you commentate, you seem to be having a great time. So
It was kind of weird because I'm trying to be like the super hypey like say jokes during the cast kind of thing, and like neither one of my co-casters are like that, and it's mostly because like we didn't know each other before getting on to do the thing. So like we had to like build chemistry during the thing, so I like felt weird trying to like crack jokes and shit, which is like the fun part for me, I think, personally.
oh my God,
So.
dude. I'm just imagining now of like if you and our other buddy Rob were to commentate at like a convention.
It would be the most entertaining thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, come on now. There would not be a period of 90 seconds where I wasn't making fun of somebody. Like,
I think it'd be hilarious too because both of you know so many ability names combined.
yeah.
So you guys would actually just be like,
Let me check my Google Doc. I have a Google Sheets with every champion name just listed with QWER across the top, and I'm just slowly trying to name every ability in the game.
how many do you got?
And whenever a new champ like gets added, I add them to the thing and then check it. So of the 156-ish champions times 4, because everyone has 4 abilities, so that's what 150 times 4 is 600-ish abilities.
Mhm.
I have 540 named.
Dang.
I have every ultimate ability I could tell you. The the ability the ultimate ability column is just completely filled. I have all of them.
Oh, nice.
'Cause like those are the big flashy abilities.
Yeah.
So those are easier to name.
Yeah.
But like, tell me what like, I don't know, like Ash's Q is called. I mean, I could tell you, but like most people couldn't.
Right.
It's a Ranger's focus, by the way.
Oh my god. Man,
Yeah, that would be like that's not exactly competing in esports, but that's interacting with it in an avenue that I would enjoy. So
Yeah.
like that, once we like move and I'm in the flow with my new job,
yeah.
I might try to pick that up some more. Or if like there's like you were talking about our other buddy Rob, they have a convention where they have a tournament, and he's like, "Yo, you want to cast it?" I'm like, "Fucking bet!" Like,
Yeah.
I'll do shit like that.
That would be so much fun, though.
'Cause that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, was it when it came?
That's pretty low stakes too.
Oh yeah.
You can pick around and nobody would care.
Oh yeah. Was it I mean, I feel like if there was like a convention with, like. Even if it was like Mortal Kombat, I would probably take the wheel.
Yeah, if it was something that I knew, a good amount about,
Yeah.
I would have no problem doing that.
Yeah. Especially if it was like DDR, that'd be so funny. Oh my god. I'm just like
I don't
thinking
even know.
about.
I've never like watched a DDR tournament like
really?
when they have the big one every year.
Mhm.
And when I do, it like all the personalities are like Japanese, so like they're
Yeah,
talking in Japanese. So I like don't actually know if there's any analysis going on or what they're saying. So like I would have a hard time then translating that to like me doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't because like you're not shoutcasting during like the song, obviously, because you want to like hear it. But I don't know.
Was it some of the ones that I've seen? Was it the people are talking about like the technical stuff in the song because obviously like everyone there has basically played every song, or like they'll be like they'll gasp because someone like misses or messes up somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it would just be funny to like watch what the song picks are and then just like be like, oh my god, I hate this song. Like, look at this section right here. Watch this crossover section right here. This sucks.
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. But...
Yeah, like I wouldn't exactly know what to be saying during that. So.
I think I would just try and meme the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have to refuse the urge to like sing along or like go with the music,
Yeah,
that would be super annoying and not what the people would want to hear. They would want to hear the actual song, not my stupid ass.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's about everything, huh?
That sounds like a good place to stop.
Yeah. Trying to think of a random question to come up with.
Let me ask, what esports or other competitive things people enjoy watching and why? Because I said
that's a good one,
the reason why I like watching like League of Legends specifically is because the game changes pretty frequently. So just seeing all the new adaptations and iterations that pro players do is interesting for me to see how stuff changes. So let us know what you enjoy watching and why you like what do you like about it.
That's a good question. All right. Well, I think that's it. Once again, thank you for listening in on this podcast, episode 5 here. I am one of your co-hosts, Alex, and with me today was the OG.
The OG homie. I'm gonna stop saying that because that's kind of cringe.
Hope you have a wonderful night and or day, and thanks for listening.